Good morning, family. Um, this morning's message, I'm going to try to make it short and sweet, but it spoke volumes to me in my work situation. So, the verses are from John 12, verses 10 and 11, which read, which read, but the chief priest plotted to put Lazarus to death also, because on account of him, many of the Jews went away and believed in Jesus. Now, I had never heard this verse preached at a church. Um, if anybody has, let me know. But this verse comes after the story about how I believe it was, let's see, who was it? Mary had that expensive oil, and this was right before Jesus' crucifixion. And Mary had the oil, and she put it on his feet, and um, Judas was like, why did you put this oil on his feet? It could have been sold for the poor, which that wasn't what his plan was. But he just tried to say that to save face, like, why you putting this expensive oil on him when you could have, got some money for it and gave it to the poor. Now, I've heard several pastors preach that verse and preach about how, she anointed him before his burial. But what I have not heard, which hit me like a ton of bricks, was the plot to kill Lazarus. And I was like, okay, so why have I not heard this before? And what it made me think about was I started looking and I was like, okay, there was a plot to kill Lazarus also. Did they kill him? So I'm scrolling through and I'm looking in the Bible and I'm like, okay, let me look up Lazarus. And, the last verse about Lazarus is this verse about how there was a plot to kill him. And that made me think about the message from the 24th from last week, Proverbs 19, verse 21. There are many plans in man's heart. Nevertheless, the Lord's counsel, that will stand. And it made me think there was a plot. And what kept coming to me in my head over and over and over again was there was a plot. There was a plot. There was a plan in place. And as I reflect that to my life, I think about my job. I had a dream about work last night. And it was like God was telling me, Felicia, there was a plot. There may be a plot, but I have the plan. God has the plan, and what God plans will stand. And so no matter who comes against me, no matter who says anything about me, no matter who tries to do anything with my job, with my finances, with my home, with my personal life, we might have a plan. These people had a plot to kill but nowhere do I see in the Bible that he was killed by this priest, the chief priest, the man in charge, a plot to kill Lazarus. And that made me think about deeper how, we may do something good. Jesus did something good. It was a miracle for him to raise Lazarus from the dead. And it says here that because in verse 11, John 12, verse 11, because on the count that Lazarus was risen from the dead, many Jews went away and believed in Jesus. That made me think, okay, many Jews went away, and when they went away, they believed in Jesus Christ because of Lazarus. And that told me, Felicia, whatever you are doing, it might cause many people to think differently. It might cause many people to, change their mind about processes, about, the way things are done. At work, I deal with spreadsheets and I deal with data and I deal with information. And I believe that when it's recorded properly, everybody gets the message. But what's been coming against me at work is people don't always do the things the same way. People not always going to see it the way you see it. I'm like, okay, I get that. I understand. All I'm doing is sharing what I know. All I'm doing is sharing how I give information. Same thing with these messages. Same thing with posting them on Facebook, posting them on Instagram. All I'm doing is sharing information that I receive every day from God. And because I'm sharing that, that's my plan to keep doing that, because that's what God has put in my heart. But what God says, how it's going to affect other people, I don't have any control over that. Felicia don't have any control over that. So all I can do is share it. And that made me think that, okay, Felicia, if you're doing something good, people may plot against you. But guess what? People will always have a plan, have a plot. But it is God's plan that will stand. It is God's counsel that will stand. All I can control is what I do. Jesus did what he did, raised Lazarus from the dead, and he didn't tell the Jews to turn away and start following him. He was answering a prayer. So the result of what he did caused many people to turn away from the church, and that also caused that chief priest to want to kill Lazarus. So what kept hitting me in the head over and over and over again is, Felicia, there is a plot. There was a plot. Past tense, there was a plot. But guess what, y'all? God has the plan. So I love y'all. I hope this blesses y'all the way that it blessed me this morning. I'm not going to worry about who plots against me, against work, in my home life, in my personal life, on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I'm not going to worry about that. I'm going to continue with God's plan. Continue with what God put in my heart and trust God's plan. I love y'all. Y'all have a blessed and wonderful day.